at JALT International. Oops. Thank you for joining us today at JALT International 2021. Please welcome Dr. Lindy Ledohowski, and she will be presenting about best practices of teaching academic writing online for the new normal. Okay, Dr. Ledohowski.
Thank you so very much. It is fantastic to be here. As I say, evening for me, afternoon for most of you. I will share my screen and hopefully this will work as it did in our practice session, and you will all be able to see my screen. So of course, this is best practices of teaching academic writing online for the new normal. And of course, in a short sort of 25 minutes to 30 minutes, we won't be able to cover all of the best practices of teaching academic writing online for the new normal, but we will highlight some of the best. And so I'll begin with a little bit of a discussion of some of the pedagogy inherent in some of the suggestions and tips and tactics that I will offer in the workshop. Then we will jump into looking at the EssayJack software, which is an academic writing software, which does allow for you as instructors to engage with some of these kind of pedagogical innovations in your online teaching or your hybrid teaching or even your face-to-face teaching. So that's kind of what we will cover. And before we get to all of that good stuff, I do want to say a big thank you to Mangosteens, who is our partner, our distribution partner in Japan. And so Ayuna and Julian are both here from Mangosteens and will be able to answer those practical technical questions you might have once we go through the presentation and you think, well, this is fantastic. I want to learn more. I want a free trial. I want to access this. Ayuna and Julian are the people to get you started. And so with that, I will mute myself for a moment and invite Ayuna to speak to this slide about Mangosteens in Japan.
Okay, thank you, Lindy. Just because we have 25 minutes for this, so just let me introduce about Mangosteens just for one quick minute. So hi, everyone. Thank you very much for your interest and attendance at best practices of teaching academic writing online for the new normal. I am Ayuna from Mangosteens. We are representing EssayJack in Japan. So the Mangosteens provide solutions to the educational challenges of today's environment. We supply innovative and effective digital materials in the areas of science, technology, engineering, English, math, and social studies for all ages. So then please allow me to introduce today's presenter, Dr. Lindy Ledohowski from EssayJack. So please enjoy her presentation. And if you have any questions, please put it in the chat anytime. And then I will add the link for the trial request. So feel free to fill in the form for me. Thank you very much and enjoy.
Thank you so much, Ayuna. So without further ado, we shall jump into the formal presentation. Again, this slide here is just a copy and paste of the description of the presentation. This presentation's focus is on best practices for teaching academic writing based on formative and summative feedback in an integrated writing process and reflection on standard writing pedagogy. So of course, I've decided to do a whole number of things in only 20 to 25 minutes. However, we will look at how the strategies of the past can be reframed in a digital context and combined for both asynchronous and synchronous learning opportunities. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And it is always good to put one of these summaries up to confirm that I will actually talk about what I promised to talk about in the program. And so one of the things that, so I used to be an English professor here in Canada. And one of the things that often comes up when we think about academic writing is to think that everything moves forward in a linear process. So we acquire content, we get ideas, our teachers model the writing process for students, then students write. Maybe they'll have an opportunity to revise, then they'll submit it and get that formal grade from us. But in fact, writing is a lot more iterative. The process isn't as laid out as straightforwardly as we might like to think. So we're constantly acquiring that content piece. We're constantly revising. We as the teachers and instructors are constantly modeling best practice to our students, what constitutes academic writing, what constitutes a process, how we ask questions, and how we revise things along the way. So again, I like to sort of draw that out, that's often a very standard thing that we're already doing. We're creating that iterative process. And we do that in our in-person classes, and we build up trust and relationship with our students so that they go on that journey of inquiry with us. And it's particularly difficult to translate that creation of trust and an iterative process in a digital realm where we're often behind computer screens. Students may or may not have their cameras on. Our jokes may fall flat because we're talking through Zoom. So there are all kinds of things that can make what is typically a community building first class or first experience that then lays the groundwork to lead students on a journey of writing is complicated in a digital space. And so we must learn and establish ways to kind of artificially build in that trust in the writing process in a digital context, whether it's a fully online class or some hybrid version. And so that's sort of where we'll go today by looking at the EssayJack software. And I'll jump over to a bit of a live demo. And so what EssayJack is it attempts to create a space that allows for and digitizes that iterative writing process and creates a space where students can feel safe and that they can trust the relationship that's being built with the instructor. And so as this is an EssayJack dashboard, on the left, we've got a number of features and functions that EssayJack can provide for you and your students. I won't go through all of them. What I want to highlight really is this idea of best practices, particularly around formative and summative feedback, and that writing process is somewhat iterative. And so if a student comes to EssayJack in one of your classes, so for instance, you may assign them a writing assignment and assign them to use EssayJack as the platform on which you want them to write. And in so doing, they will come and they will create an essay draft. There are a number of templates that they may choose to write from. So perhaps if you've said, I want you to write a 5-paragraph essay on any given topic, and I want you to use EssayJack. So the student will go and they will choose the 5-paragraph essay, and that will spool up this interactive template for them. And so it has all of the main component parts that they may need. So it's got the introductory paragraph, their main idea, details, the argument, the body section, which is broken down in this case for a 5-paragraph essay. Of course, we've got 3 body paragraphs, and point 1 has a topic sentence, build up, evidence, explanation, and concluding sentence. And so the student can see their sort of essay in miniature through the template. And they may start writing with the sentence starters. This essay is about Macbeth. Maybe an advanced class that you're teaching, they're reading Macbeth. It's one of those staples for native English speakers, not quite so common in an ESL context. But the point is that you can choose whatever topic that you want. I could say this essay is about Macbeth. If I want my students to write, this essay is about going skiing this weekend. Tell your reader some context or details. I, again, have a focus question to keep me focused. And then I also have a sentence starter. It must be said that skiing is very fun. So again, as I start to write as a student, my essay is being built in miniature for me on the right-hand side. So as a student, all I'm doing is writing in these small text boxes, and my essay is starting to be compiled for me. It's my own thinking, of course, but the structure is there. Now, in terms of that building community and space and confidence piece, students start to feel better as they see their progress. They start to feel less alone in the writing process. It's not just them and a blank screen that's staring at them when they have to write. And then once they have written something, they can send it to you for review. So I queued up one in advance, so as I wouldn't spend our 20 minutes writing out an essay in real time. So I wrote one in advance and I sent it to myself through the EssayJack platform to review. So that's what this little red light is here for. And here, I'll just go back into that short narrative essay just to show you where I would send it. So I can send an essay for review to anybody who is scoped in a class with me. So it could be my instructor, it could be anybody in a course. I can send it to myself. So within the EssayJack platform, we have that built-in ability to provide feedback. So to show what this looks like, we want to go in and have a peek at the newest review that's waiting for me. So I go through my list of reviewed essays and I find the one that's pending. This short Macbeth essay is pending. So I'm going to want to see and provide a review of this essay. So this essay, this short essay on Macbeth, it's 240 words long. In terms of providing the review, as an instructor or as a peer providing feedback, I can choose this holistic overall rating rubric. So holistic rubric, there are two different kinds of rubric. Well, there are many different kinds of rubrics. The ones we're talking about today, there are two. The first rubric is one that takes writing and adjudicates it and provides a rating or feedback on a holistic ranking of things. So in total, how does this Macbeth essay unfold? Are the ideas good? Stylistically, is it grammatically correct? Overall, what is my impression of it? And I can provide a rating to the student and give them encouragement along the way. This was a great start. You've done such a good job. Okay. Then the second aspect of this rubric on the rating side of things breaks the essay down into its component parts. So content, where we can have excellent content, which are the ideas, the points, can be good, average, poor. Again, perhaps I'll say this is good. I then, as an instructor, don't have to just use the EssayJack built-in comments. I can add my own. So I can't wait to read the final draft. This is very good. The organization, again, it breaks down and shows the student what constitutes excellent, good, average, or poor organization, which is particularly helpful if we use this in any kind of peer evaluation. And then stylistically, similarly, it breaks things down and I can add comments. You are very advanced. I guess if I'm saying they're very advanced, they should get 4 stars. And same goes for spelling and punctuation. I can also provide specifically scoped comments. So this sentence starts with a conjunction and you fix it. So we add that comment in, and then I can complete the review to the student. The student will see that within their EssayJack framework. So if I go to my list of essays now as a student, and I find my short Macbeth essay, I can go in and I will see that formative feedback right there. So if I click over to my ratings, 21 seconds ago, I was provided a rating, and this is that one that I just did. Good job. You've done such a good start, or this is a great start. You've done such a good job. Can't read my own writing. Can't wait to read the final draft. All of those comments that, again, can be used to help build up that student sense of confidence. As well, that specifically scoped comment here. The sentence starts with a conjunction. Okay, I'm going to fix this. And it remains to be seen why. All right, resolved. So once again, you can create that sense of community, trust, and feedback with the students along the way. And what a student can also do, if we go back to that 5-paragraph essay, as a student writes, for instance, we may want them to share something before it's completed. So the essay is about going skiing. It must be said that skiing is fun. I argue that skiing should be taught as one of the main sports in public school. And then I will argue this point by saying, first, I describe what kind of skiing is the best, alpine or Nordic. Then I describe why skiing is healthy.
3 more minutes until Q&A time.
Yep, thank you. The analysis ends by suggesting we should all ski. At this point, I've built my conclusion. I can see I've got an outline here. So I've got a first paragraph. It's pulled those 3 points. The first, I describe what kind of skiing. Then I describe why skiing is healthy. The analysis ends by suggesting we should all ski. And then I've got a provisional concluding paragraph there, which I can then send to my instructor, to my peers, anybody who is within a class with me to get feedback on that. So what I wanted to showcase is not only can there be that reviewing functionality, which is somewhat more summative at the end, it can also be offered at the point of an outline. So students can have that stock take, that checkpoint. Am I on the right track? And we can engage with them in a meaningful manner. So that gives a sense of that writing process and being able to provide them with feedback. And one more aspect that I want to highlight before we open it up to the questions is the fact that all of those templates, that 5-paragraph essay, any of those templates that we've seen that are off the shelf that students can use, they're also entirely customizable. So as an educator, I can go in and I can customize things, my new template. I can change various wordings. This is your first sentence. I can change the sentence starters if I don't like the ones provided by EssayJack, or I want to engage in a more personal way with my own students. So that's yet another possibility within the platform that gives you control over this writing process and learning environment, despite the fact that you may be distanced from your students, you may have hybrid interactions with them. So on that note, I'll stop at this point in time. I will keep my screen share open simply so that I'm able to jump back in if some of the questions are particular to the platform. So are there any sub-rubrics for style that students can see? My students would need help here. So that's a really good question. We don't have customizable rubrics at this point in time. We have a standard rubric that then kind of breaks down the component parts that you might need. What we do have is, so for each of these, any of these particular essays, there's the ability to add an attachment. So if you have additional resources that you use to explain academic writing style or conventions of diction or word choice that you want, sometimes actually in an EAP context, instructors will actually add vocabulary lists here. So if there are particular words that they want students to be practicing, so for instance, with my skiing, I may have chosen ski words that I want them to use, or I may have chosen words about weather that I want them to use in describing what it's like to go skiing, and I can list that in there for them as well. But the simple answer is no, unfortunately. We can't customize the rubrics. They will see that rubric as it currently stands and the description of style as it currently exists. Other questions? So what do students see in the style? So let's go back to this. All right. So, that's my essay that I just did. Actually, let's just look at a different one. So style. So style rating, language choices are skillful and considered, syntax is polished, voice is clear and effective, sense of audience/purpose is strong. So that is what constitutes an excellent style. All the way down at poor, it would say language choices are inadequate, overgeneralized, or inaccurate. Syntax is uncontrolled, sense of audience or purpose missing. So again, as you've rightly pointed out, this is sort of sophisticated vocabulary around style. Things like syntax, inaccuracy, inadequacy are things that would probably need to be explained and socialized to the students if they're using this simply off the shelf in that manner. All right. Do we have any other questions that you want to jump in? So while Julian and Ayuna put up their contact information and everything in the chat, I'll also just put it up here on the screen so that you've got pricing information, contact information, if you are interested in sort of giving this a whirl in your classes as well. And if not, I do think as well, this idea and the pedagogy behind trying to, whether it's in EssayJack or not, but trying to create digital spaces where students can feel confident enough in their writing process to experiment and make mistakes along the way, and then have you be that trusted guide leading them on their journey to academic writing is certainly something that I think we all do in our regular teaching practice, and it is a bit of a challenge in sort of digital and hybrid contexts where we don't always have the opportunity to create those relationships face to face. So as I say, my intervention in the space is certainly EssayJack. I hope it is your intervention in the space as well. Julian always tells me at these presentations I should have the teachers tell 10 teachers about EssayJack. So please go and tell 10 teachers if this is something that would be helpful for them.
There's a question in the chat.
Let's see. How about similarity when submitted to Turnitin? That's excellent. So we do work with Turnitin. With Turnitin, the only flag that can come up with the similarity checker is just those transitional words. So if there are words like in addition, however, then that will flag it on Turnitin. And of course, that's a standard, it's up to the instructor to then recognize that those are merely transitional words that are being repeated. Again, if there are other similarities, such as students have copied and pasted things from other things that show up in Turnitin's database, then that is in fact a plagiarism problem that we need to address, but nothing that's built into the EssayJack platform flags a Turnitin similarity check. All right, well, we have probably about 35 seconds. So I thank you so very much for spending some time with me this Monday afternoon for you, Sunday evening for me. I hope that this was helpful. As I say, I couldn't tell you everything about best practices for teaching writing online in the new normal, but I did my best. Oh my gosh, Ian's there at 5 a.m. Okay, you definitely win the award for being the most dedicated at 5 a.m. I'm very grateful for your attendance at 5 a.m. Thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Please
Bye.
offer a round of applause for Dr. Ledohowski.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.